Hello and welcome to Hindustan Times. Now, Pakistan is facing a political crisis yet again. Now, a crisis this one has been brought about by its cricketer turned politician turned Prime Minister Imran Khan. Now, to avoid losing a vote of no confidence in Parliament, Imran Khan has triggered an unprecedented constitutional crisis in Pakistan. He scrapped the parliamentary vote over alleged foreign interference, quote unquote, and called for fresh elections as a stunned opposition cried foul. Now, the matter is right now before the Pakistan Supreme Court, which will decide on the constitutionality of the matter one way or the other. But till then, I have with me former Indian High Commissioner to Pakistan, G. Parthasarathy. Welcome to the show, sir, to understand what's going on in Pakistan and if there are any implications for India and the entire region. Let me straight off the bat ask you, Mr. Parthasarathy, what do you think is happening? What is the sense that you're getting out of the developments in Pakistan?
He's likely to lose very badly, and more importantly, there are enough people now willing to enter into a coalition which includes the People's Party, and many others, including the Islamic parties like the Jamaat Ulama Islam. So I think the People's Party and Muslim League together can sink Imran Khan into the deepest ocean going. So that's what's worrying him.
Okay, so but you know, this entire political drama that he's been playing out over the last few days in the run up to this no trust vote, you know, there is this whole talk of a foreign power. There is this letter that comes up, you know, of alleging a conspiracy by the West, and then he names the US, and then he doesn't name the US. You know, he's hoping that all of that is going to sort of get him back in favor as far as the people are concerned. He's trying to win the sympathy of the people that he's being victimized here. But do you think that victim card will work for him?
No, not as things stand. But if time passes, there is no doubt that he does enjoy popularity because of his cricketing past, which brought much glory to Pakistan. Let's face it, he took Pakistan to become the only occasion the #1 team in the world. So, and the Pakistanis are cricket crazy. So he is very popular. He is not corrupt. So you have to give the devil its due. He is not corrupt, but he is intolerant. He is dictatorial and rather opinionated. He has done things which has landed Pakistan in serious trouble, even with the friendliest of Islamic countries like Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates.
You know, you talked about, you know, that he is pretty popular and that popularity still stands because of the cricketing background. But given the fact that, you know, on the ground, you're saying the popularity alone, as a person, you know, who's governed that country for 3 long years now, and he came in with the promise of Naya Pakistan. Now, has that promise of Naya Pakistan, have any steps been taken in that direction? Because it's a failing economy. It's an economy which is, there's an economic crisis. There's also a security crisis after this entire Taliban rerun in Afghanistan. There is, of course, now a constitutional crisis. And, you know, Pakistan just seems to be hurtling from one crisis to another over the last 3 years.
Yes, he has not produced a Naya Pakistan. He's even worsened the Purana Pakistan, which existed. The administration has been poor, whimsical, and very little to show by way of achievement. And the mistake he is making is that as a bankrupt country running to the IMF every second month, you don't pick a bone with the Americans. They control the IMF. So he lacks that sort of wisdom. As I said, to spoil relations with Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates is a crime for these days, whether it's India or Pakistan. And he's just done that. So he is, as I said, whimsical, but still popular. I think his calculation is that if they have a few months spell of sort of rule by him instead of by the others, or rule by someone independent, whom the Chief Justice can appoint, then things may be better. But depends on how it will go. I mean, in the sense that what the Speaker and Deputy Speaker did was a murder of democracy, parliamentary democracy. So if the court strikes that down and says, okay, go back and have a vote, the new government which comes will stay on. This is point number one. Second point is he has burnt his boats with the most powerful institution in Pakistan, which is the chief of the Pakistan Army. General Bajwa and he are daggers drawn. When this man tried to interfere too much with regard to the posting of General Faiz Hamid, who was his blue-eyed boy as the head of the ISI, and he lost. And you've got a DG ISI, Nadeem Anjum, who's strictly a soldier, goes by orders and by the orders of his chiefs and seniors. So he has landed himself in trouble because of his arrogance, externally with Saudi Arabia and so on, with the Americans also. So I think he's our greatest asset. We should all do puja every morning for Imran Khan to continue for a long time.
Greatest asset you mean for India, of course, not for Pakistan, because Pakistan is completely in the doldrums as of now.
As long as there is an animal situation which is born by animosity, which is what he has done, then he will pay the price, not us. Because the Pakistan army does not want to fight. They don't see any point in it. They're building up their strength, and so is the Air Force. So why should they listen to this man?
He came on the pretext, his whole Naya Pakistan, what he promised when he came in. There was a instead of taking Pakistan towards modernity and towards making Pakistan a more globalized order, he simply, when his whole Naya Pakistan spiel, when he came to power, was a more very inward looking, very Islamic, and given his background, that obviously didn't gel. As a human being, you've interacted with Imran Khan as a human being, as a person, as a prime minister. Where did he stand, in comparison to other prime ministers that Pakistan has had?
Well, I met him first and met him on a number of occasions in the 1982 tour by the Indian cricket team, which was led by Sunil Gavaskar, and he was the Pakistan captain. He was polite, he was correct, but very hard he didn't get into politics at all. He just played his game. But from what I heard, he hadn't anything complimentary to say about India or Indians. I'm going back 40 years almost. So I don't think he's changed.
And when you met him did you meet him as prime minister too?
No, I've not met him as prime minister.
As a politician, sorry, not as prime minister, as a politician.
I had run across him once or twice. But when I was High Commissioner, he was just on the periphery.
Right.
And he has moved upwards. And the reason he moved upwards, he seems to forget. It is the assistance from the military. You must remember, this man is the protege of a former DG ISI called Lieutenant General Hamid Gul. Another one of the biggest characters I had met and known. Sadly, he's not alive, but he was the one who was, declared as a supporter of terrorists by the Americans, a hardcore Islamist, given to being quite sort of peculiar views about India, which is very stereotyped. And he was the guru of Imran Khan. The creation of his party was that of Hamid Gul. And with that sort of company to start, plus his own inclinations, the first thing he insisted when his children were born with his first wife is that they will be made Muslim. So, and his wife was Jewish, the first one. So I think the problem with him has been this: an Oxford educated, otherwise sophisticated guy, being so hardly fundamentalist and given to what the Pakistan army calls as radical Islam. That's Imran Khan. He has changed, incidentally. I think what I notice is carefully studying is he's now realizing somewhat that India has set an example which has benefited it a lot, and he says so, much more openly than before. His real
Yes, I mean, just a couple of days ago, he went on to this whole praise of Indian foreign policy, of course,
yes.
which was quite, unlike him ever, right?
So this is an evolving Imran Khan, but the original characteristics of Imran Khan are not very pleasing. And if he ever gets back to power or position of influence, he will wield that. And as I said, at heart, he's very deep in this. I saw it from his cricketing days, hardcore Islamist.
Do you see any immediate, because there is, Pakistan is located in such a strategic manner that there is a China on one side and there is an Afghanistan on one side, and there are all those implications for the Indian border, especially in the Indian state of Jammu and Kashmir, along the LAC as well as the LOC. There is also a security situation in Kashmir right now. Do you see any implications of what's happening there? Because there is the Afghanistan factor and the Taliban to consider.
Look, this is why I say wait for the snows to melt. We possibly have some idea of how many people have crossed the border, getting trained and so on. But our own forces on the border now are much more savvy than they were 10, 12 years ago because of experience. And we've learned to manage it. And I don't think General Bajwa is given to being adventuristic. He will push, but I think more sensibly than what led to our air attack. That will remain a point of friction because they can't eat their breakfast without talking about Kashmir, quite forgetting what they're doing in Balochistan and elsewhere. So I think it's wait and watch. It's don't ignore contacts. I must tell you that even in the worst of times, and I'm certain that continues, we do always have a back channel of communications, either through the intelligence agencies or otherwise. I think those channels of communication should be kept open because with COVID, who on earth wants other tensions to come in the way? And
right.
I'm certain after what's happened in China, Pakistan also recognizes the realities of that. So the policy should be on the guard, be prepared for the worst, but also learn to see if there are some areas where you can reduce tensions or look more normal than we are at the moment.
Thanks for giving us all that perspective, sir. For now, of course, all eyes on the Pakistan Supreme Court and, of course, also the Pakistan military, Pakistan army, because nothing moves in Pakistan without the Pakistan army say so, as is public knowledge by now, and probably that's what resulted. Although Pakistani army has said that they've not got anything to do with the no confidence motion against Imran Khan that the opposition brought about, but
That's enough.
All right, thank you, sir. On that note, we thank our viewers for watching this broadcast. We'll keep coming back to you with more. Stay tuned to Hindustan Times.
Thank you.